How do you get them to start thinking through what their positioning is? Like, let's say you're going to go through the exercise with them. Are you asking certain questions to help people generate this idea? Or
So usually when they come to me for writing, they have their positioning mostly figured out. Like we might need to narrow it down a little bit for it to be specific. If somebody gives me their positioning statement, the first thing that I do, I use what I call the content question a lot.
Okay.
So instead of I help X do Y so they can get Z, I turn that into a question. So you say, how can X get Y so they can Z. And once we start asking that question, my target for like, is this positioning specific enough is usually I'll be like, could you write a book about this? And if they say, yeah, I could write a book about that. That's great. Then my next follow-up is, could you write 10 books about it from different angles? And if they were like, yeah, then it's too broad. Like we need it to be something that you can unpack in your content over time, but specific enough that it's going to resonate with a certain type of individual. So that's just how my brain works, I guess, is like, how many books could you write about what you're trying to be known for?
Do you have some examples of what good looks like?
Yeah. So I think I had a client that came and they were like, I want to help mid-sized businesses improve their GTM strategy so they can grow their business. Well, everybody wants that. So is there a specific type of mid-sized business? And I think we ended up narrowing it all the way down to like companies running on EOS because that was a piece of their background, entrepreneur operating system, like that they had a lot of experience with. That a lot of times it's just they have a preference, but they're afraid to say it because they're afraid of what it would exclude. Well, I can work with companies that aren't EOS. Yeah, but you have this and it helps differentiate you. And if you wrote a book through that lens, it would be far more interesting than if you just wrote about helping mid-sized companies. So it's kind of drilling down to that next level.
Did you get to a point with that person where you felt their energy change around it?
Yes, there's always and I see this a lot when I start asking like, we look at the content question and then we start unpacking it. So I'll be like, how has your thinking about that changed over the years? Or what's something you think people get wrong about that? And almost always there's like a worldview that sits underneath the problem they solve and their energy shifts big time when they start talking about that. So they'll start talking faster. They get more passionate and animated. They'll say, well, we should or should not, which normally I'm not a fan of shoulding, but in this case, it tells me a lot about what they're passionate about. Or they'll go off on a tangent and then they'll apologize for being on their soapbox. And I'm like, no, go back to the soapbox. That's going to tell us so much about what you should be talking about online.
Okay, that's the energy shift. By the way, if you're watching the video, she just had an energy shift.